years ago, I packed my bags, I got on a plane, and I flew to Pakistan. I'd lived in London my entire life, but I was super excited to get on that plane because I was flying towards what felt to me to be the most exciting career opportunity of my life. I'd been offered the job of reopening the British Council libraries in Pakistan. Libraries have been an enormous part of my life since childhood, when I visited my local library every single day. As a child of working-class immigrant parents, the library was the first place outside of my home where I truly felt safe and accepted. And so when I grew up, after graduating from university, I began my career working in public libraries. I spent the next 15 years of my life developing collections, helping to create exciting programs, and helping to make libraries modern and relevant to a 21st century audience. Now, the idea was simple. I was going to bring the magic of libraries, the libraries of my childhood, the libraries I had worked in as an adult, to Lahore and Karachi. I was going to bring these great, good places to Pakistan. In my imagination, these were going to be a hotbed of creative minds. They were going to be a safe space for women. They were going to be an arena for intellectual debate and dialogue. Vibrant, modern spaces, buzzing, and yes, cool. Of course, nothing ever turns out the way you expect, and it wasn't long before I realized that there was a vast gulf between what I understood a library to be and everyone else. I began to realize this when I met people for the first time, and I told them that I was reopening libraries in Pakistan. This was usually met with a blank stare, followed by questions like, "But do we need libraries anymore? Young people just don't read. The culture of reading is dead. Are libraries even relevant?" So, I began to ask myself, when I said library, were we even thinking of the same thing? Were we on the same page? I'd like the audience now to do something for me. Please take a moment and close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a library. Go on. Okay, you can open them again. What did you see? Was it bookshelves? Was it a stern librarian telling you to shh? Were you at a homework club or a reading group? Were you maybe meeting a friend for a coffee or going to see your favorite author discuss their latest book? Perhaps you were doing some research, or you were building a prototype for your startup. Maybe you're lonely and you're killing some time. Or it's cold outside and the library is warm. You could be in the library for any of those reasons, and you could be in the library for 100 other reasons, because the library is a space, and the best libraries are like the TARDIS in Doctor Who. They can shift and expand to meet your expectations and needs in strange and wonderful ways. This brings me to a concept that librarians love to talk about, the third space. You might have heard of it before. It's an idea developed by Ray Oldenburg. Your home is the first place. Your place of work is the second. And where you choose to spend your time between the comfort of home and the routine of work, that is what we call the third space. Thriving civil societies will have lots of them, neutral public places where you can go to meet other people, where you can engage in social activities or a creative pursuit. Ideally, third spaces are social levelers. That means it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, how much or how little money you have. In a third space, you are simply a citizen, and you have as much right to be there as anyone else. So, Lahore, raise your hands if you think you have a third space in your city. Interesting. Okay, all right. At their best, third spaces are a positive force in society. They bring people together, they create cohesion, they build civic trust and harmony. But it seemed to me that these spaces did not exist in Pakistan, at least not through libraries. And is it any wonder when a recent survey suggests that only 6% of the population in Pakistan has access to a library? Compare that to 31% of the population with access to a smartphone. In a country where 37 million people are Facebook users and are on social media, Pakistan has 400 public libraries to cater to its 200 million strong population. That's one library catering to 500,000 people. Is it any wonder then that I was getting so many blank stares? So it's not hard to create a third space, but it does require a mind shift. You can't, especially if what you think of libraries is based on the idea that they are quiet, strictly policed study spaces. So to explain what I mean, I'd like to talk a little bit about the libraries that I opened in Lahore and Karachi back in September 2016. Libraries shouldn't shush, they should roar. That was our informal library motto, and we went ahead and we put them on our walls, because if there's one thing I want us all to move away from, it's the idea that libraries should be quiet. If we truly want to create a space that is welcoming to everyone, we have to stop policing it. The best third spaces are spaces where children, teenagers, men and women feel free to explore their academic, their social, and their creative pursuits. And you can't do that in silence. And of course, you can't have a good third space without the right people. One of my first jobs when I came to Pakistan was to build the team that would run the libraries. I wasn't looking for a working knowledge of the Dewey Decimal System. Instead, I was looking for excellent communication skills, like-minded people dedicated to creating vibrant and open spaces. A modern library needs a modern workforce. People who are willing to embrace change, who aren't scared of technology, and want to work with diverse audiences. Now, despite everything that I've just said, I know there are some of you in this audience who still have that question at the back of your mind, the question that I still get asked, even after 4 years. Are libraries still relevant in the digital age? I don't think the internet, smartphones, or social media make libraries obsolete. In fact, I think they make libraries more relevant than ever, because as we immerse ourselves into the digital world, we begin to lose empathy. We stop making meaningful connections with each other, with the world around us, and with society. Our online existence might feel really busy and satisfying, but we are commodified online. We become bits of data to be monitored and sold, constantly bombarded with adverts. Compare that to a third space, public places that welcome you regardless of what you are able to buy and that bring you into spontaneous contact with other individuals in your community and enhance your sense of belonging to it. In a culture driven by instant gratification and clicks, libraries can be an oasis for those of us who feel alienated and crave a more mindful and grounded existence. We live in a world that is changing faster than our ability to keep up with it. Thanks to the internet and social media, we are more connected than ever before. And yet, ironically, we are facing a global epidemic of loneliness. We have access to more news and more information than ever before, and yet many of us feel manipulated and exploited by our leaders and the press, fake news. In an age of growing economic inequality, social capital, that is the trust that we place in our civic institutions and in each other, is falling, and that is why we need more libraries, not less. 4 years ago, when I came to Pakistan, in all of my excitement, I didn't realize my biggest challenge would be trying to create a fundamental shift in the way people saw libraries and the potential that they have to shape us and our communities. So let's stop thinking of libraries as austere study spaces, as quiet places where books gather dust, and instead think of them as the vital heart of a healthy society, as social enablers, as safe spaces for marginalized groups and a place of discovery. Because at their best, a library can be anything you need it to be, anything you want, anything at all. Thank you.